Hey world, it's been able to come back in another video. Just wanted to hit on a couple topics, things going on right now that are obvious diversions. And like I said, you see the title, Joe Rogan, Black History, NFL, Whoopi Goldberg. These are all stories out right now that it's unfortunate that those that create these diversions actually think that people are concerned with it. Now there's a group of people, they have their, you know, population that concerns themselves with this, and no one else can really say anything about it being just diversions. I mean, let's take Joe Rogan for example. Who cares? Joe Rogan is he's a blogger. He has a podcast. Uh, Joe Rogan is a part of them. I mean, you remember he was having people eat cow balls and roaches and rats on one of the most despicable shows that ever been on the television. He goes from there to being a comedian to being a podcaster where he's a truther. Get the hell out of here. To me, he's a comedian. Listening to Joe Rogan or Alex Jones or any of these cats that's supposed to be truthers and being able to live under the limelight or under the guise of a celebrity, you're not a truther. Joe Rogan is actually being used to pretty much put guys like myself and Mad, Truth, others that speak truth on notice that there are certain things you can and can't say. If you do say them, this is what's going to happen to you. And how did he do it? Because if we can silence Joe Rogan, which he's not silent because he's one of them, then we can silence you. All right? Even with the Whoopi Goldberg situation. Whoopi Goldberg went out there and spoke truth. I mean, there's only three races: Mongoloid, Caucasoid, and Negroid, or Africanoid, however they want to do it. But growing up, that's the only thing that made sense to me, because when you look at the demographics of the world's population, you fit in one of those three. I mean, even over here in America, Hispanics are viewed as white. So what is that, Caucasoid? Because you have all different type of Asian, then you have all different type of Negro, the Africanoid people. It's only three. And so when Whoopi Goldberg said the Holocaust was an issue of humans being evil, not because of racism. And what was her point? Her point was, how can white people be racist toward white people? Well, that tells you right there that there's no such thing as race. Because what is racism? Racism is when you and your constituents or the people, your organization, has the ability to economically, politically, and socially destroy another group of people. Has nothing to do with color. And so when they silenced Whoopi Goldberg, it wasn't for her, it was for us. For us to say, no, it was racist. Don't listen to Whoopi Goldberg. You see what happened to her. Even with Joe Rogan. Oh, Joe Rogan said the N-word. Man, get the hell out of here. It's 2022, and we still talking about N-word. We're not that sensitive. And to continue to think with that sensitive is a slap in the face. When in Hollywood or Hollyweird, they say nigga all time. In every show. I mean, look at Quentin Tarantino. Look at all these different movies, these different shows. No one has a problem with it. No one's counseled Quentin Tarantino. No one's counseled any Martin Scorsese. No one's counseled, these other directors and these movie makers. 12 Years a Slave, Roots, all of these different so-called slave movies, all these movies, urban city movies where the word nigga is used every third word, nobody get counseled. But they want to counsel a comedian because he used the N-word. Get the hell out of here. It's a farce, okay? To actually keep you not conscious of what the hell is really going on. The fact that you paying damn near 15, 16% more for everything this year than you did last year. Imagine that. No one, or at least I don't know a lot of people that works as an employee that every year gets at least a 2%, 3% raise, which will be comparable to, inflation. Because, normally inflation around 2% a year. But right now, guys, the inflation is as high as it's ever been in 50 years. And people are struggling, but they don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Joe Rogan. They want to talk about the NFL. Are you serious? NFL lawsuit. That's another controlled opposition topic that has no bearing on how people are, struggling right now. And we got people still without lights. We have people who are losing their homes. People who, can't afford to eat because, eggs and poultry and necessities. Companies, corporations have, inflated the prices 15, 16, 17%. Cars, all of that. But that's not the story. The story is Joe Rogan, Whoopi Goldberg, the NFL, and Black History Month. Get the hell out of here. Like I say, Joe Rogan and Whoopi Goldberg, those are two controlled opposition characters that are used only to make sure that when the people see what happened to them, then it's basically used to suppress your ideology, suppress your freedom of speech. That's it. NFL, isn't it kind of ironic that they would have a lawsuit against the NFL because they're not hiring enough black coaches? When have they ever hired enough black coaches? Listen, if the NFL players, which is over 70-some percent, 78, 79% of the NFL, okay, the Negro Football League, if 78% of those individuals are Afro-melanated and they ain't got a problem with not hiring black coaches, what does that tell you? It's an all-controlled opposition. What's the cat name? Flores, that the Afro-melanated coach at Miami. He didn't have a problem with black coaches being hired when he was working for the Miami Dolphins as a coach. But all of a sudden he gets fired, and now he wants to file a lawsuit, a racism lawsuit? Dude, it's only been, 2 or 3 black coaches in the NFL, period, over the whole year they ever had it. And before that, they never had them. And guess what? The NFL told you as a slap in the face, we hire who we want to hire. Duh. Because they know it's a scam. Black History Month, get out of here. What are slave ships? What are evidence? Can one Afro-melanated person tell me that they've spoken with somebody in their family, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, anybody that said they were slaves? Remember, those that control the narrative controls the history or his story. If it don't make sense, dude, come on, man. Use your brain. It's just, I just had to take some time off, man, because I think what's going on is really crazy. I tell you, this inflation is not going to end. The Federal Reserve is going to be raising interest rates 4 times this year. So if you're having a mortgage, that's an adjustable rate mortgage, get ready because that $500 or $700 or $1,000 mortgage that you're paying is finna go up. So I hope you save money. Hope you paid yourself first, because if not, it's going to be some issues. But this is not what's going to be on the television. It's going to be bullcrap stories about so-called celebrities being silenced or canceled, which doesn't make any sense. So how you silence a counsel when you still on the television? Or you still on social media? And so-called celebrities, please, don't do us any favors. We're not that sensitive. Use the N-word, you use it anyway. Hollywood use it every day. No one says anything about it. Okay? So this whole notion is ridiculous. Law enforcement is ridiculous. Why do I say that? Because not all guys that get into law enforcement are ridiculous. But the system itself, how it's set up, is ridiculous. How do you use drugs to arrest drug dealers? How are you using cops dressed as prostitutes to arrest Johns? That's entrapment. How are you bugging people's homes because you suspect them to be a suspect? Violation of privacy without proof. Okay? So this whole notion of the FBI, the CIA, law enforcement, believe me, family, it's not that we don't trust the cops. We don't trust the system. Why? Because the system is devised or created to arrest. It's no accident the United States have the #1 arrest or incarcerate more people per capita than any other country in the world. Name me one other country, non-black country, that does this. You know, drug dealers, you're going to sell them drugs. Money laundering, you're going to provide them shell companies to entrap them. So basically, you know, you're basically using your own crimes that you create to incarcerate. Okay, so don't fall for it, family. There's more things to be concerned with. I mean, think about this. I'm an educator, and I've seen the intellectual motivation from students in the last 2 years go from 100 to 0. The students are the ones that suffer, and I don't know whether it's on purpose, but you know, we basically creating a whole generation of non-thinkers. It's not an accident. They don't even talk about slavery anymore. I mean, what is the critical race theory? Oh, we don't want to talk about slavery, or we don't want to talk about things that make us look bad. Come on, man. Because you know why? They're basically finna tell the truth now. Well, no such thing as slavery. There's something called colonization, which, remember, if your country is colonized by another country of power, then your whole history, your culture, your language, your religion, everything is going to be wiped out, and it's going to be something created by them to make sure that you stay controlled. All right? So, family, like I said, don't fall for the madness. In the meantime, between time, may the Most High how you bring your joy. And being with is 95,000.